Well, it's it's nice to be here at the Helen Keller Foundation. I had no problems finding my way here. I've never been here before, but I was guided by a little voice, not one in my head, but in my car. I actually used technology. Right? I plugged in the address, and that Siri or whatever's on my iPhone said, turn right on Veterans Memorial Highway, turn right on Furison Avenue or whatever it is, Furison, and arriving at destination, right? So I got to navigate. I had help navigating to a place I've never been before by technology. And really that's why we're here today, right? We want to make it so that everybody in Suffolk County, and we believe there's at least 25,000 visually impaired individuals, probably a lot more than that, can have equal access. They can have equal access to job listings, to government meetings, to storm warnings, all those things, where to go. We haven't had that. I actually was kind of surprised when I came to the legislature that we didn't have that. I mean, yes, it is part of the ADA law. We did it though because I believe because we believe it's the right thing to do, that we have turned a page in Suffolk County, that we want to be as inclusive as we possibly can. And you know, the county executive sometimes teases me about persistence. You know, I'm persistent. Well, if you want to meet the definition of persistence, it's Al Rizzi. Okay, so,
I was just going to say, no, we were going with that.
You know, Al is persistent, and Al first brought this to my attention years ago, and I said, really? Our websites aren't accessible to the visually impaired? We have to do something about that. And eventually, you know, it took a while. We got this bill passed, and then I don't think we realized how difficult it was from a technological. It sounds simple, but there were literally thousands of person hours that had to go into making this happen and reviewing it. I mean, Doug Miller's been mentioned a couple times. We could keep mentioning him because he really was instrumental in making this happen. Until Doug kind of took the function over, it seemed like just roadblock after roadblock, but he got through the technological impediments and made things, he kind of laid the road work, the foundation, so that we could continue page after page after page through this. I want to tell you a little story about Al. Some of you may know he's a bit of a folk hero within the disabled community at this point because of an incident that happened. Was it American Airlines or
U.S. Airways?
U.S. Airways. So he's on a plane with his dog, which is by his side, and the stewardess or the flight attendant is not making an accommodation for the dog because the seat he's in doesn't have the ability to put the dog kind of underneath the seat. And there's 8 empty seats, but she won't move him. And basically, Al gets a little pissed off, right? Yeah, he gets a little bit upset. And then basically, she tells him to leave the plane. So he gets up and he leaves. And the rest of the plane, 35 other people, get up and walk off too, right? You may have heard this story.
Remarkable.
It's a remarkable story about how all the people knew it was wrong what was happening. It was wrong what was happening to him. They needed to do things differently, and they needed to stick together if things were going to happen differently. And that is really what Suffolk County has done here. You know, we're on this plane together. We knew what was happening was wrong, and we stuck together. We had somebody who kind of led the charge in Al Rizzi, but with the leadership of County Executive Balone, the IT department, many of the people, Silo, and all these other groups that kind of came together and said, let's make this happen. So we all stood up. We walked off that plane, and we made it happen in the right way. And so I really want to thank everybody. And this is it's a great celebration. You know, in terms of my own drive to do this, I had a cousin. She passed away. So, some people may know her name, Marcia Forrest. She's kind of the person who coined that term inclusion. She kind of led the inclusion movement, which is now in every school throughout the United States. And she led a lot of the early legal battles in the United States to create the ADA laws. So she inspired me. She passed away from cancer, you know, at least probably 15 years ago, but not before changing the world. And she understood how to build community. And you know, I talk about building community, but you can't build a community that doesn't include certain people. You know, you have to open up all those doors, whether it's, you know, a ramp and the width of the doorway and the right bathroom, you know, or maybe making your websites available to everyone, whether you have a visual impairment or not. So she helped inspire me. I'm happy to mention her, but I've been inspired by so many people and all the people who work to make this happen, from Frank to Al to Doug to Steve to the whole crew. So thank you all. We share this victory together, and it's great to do it on the 25th anniversary of the ADA law. Yep.